So, the current state of the blockchain, actually I probably need to revise this after seeing this morning, because that was really, really cool to see all that happening. And so, this was what I was going to have. We are the early days. So you get a lot of people saying, oh, but it's slow, it doesn't scale. Well, if you'd said that when you had the first, aeroplane, no, it's all right, I'll stick to my railway because this will never work, where would we be? So things take time. But also, things are a lot quicker than they were, say, with the internet. We've had the internet, 25, 30 years, and it's been a slow, gradual process. This is going faster and faster. It's like exponential because it's built on top of the internet. Now, this is another example. This was a first car, which was like, horses were more reliable. Again, I won't have that because my trusty horse that I know what's going on. But of course, we all know what happened to that. There's a myth. There's lots of myths. One of them is that only criminals want to use cryptocurrency. Another myth is that if you have the best technology, that will win, because everyone will just say, of course, and they will walk over to this new technology. But that doesn't work, and we've seen that time and time and time again. So, for example, I didn't realize this until recently, but in 1900, electric cars outsold petrol cars. Anyone else know that? Yep, some of you did. That's good. You're more informed than I was. But what happened? Well, we just start slowly getting petrol cars. 100 and something years later? This was, 1916. This was an electric car. But the trouble was that all of a sudden you had this cheap fuel, and so all the development went into this very cheap fuel, and we've seen what's happened with global warming, which we'll actually talk about later. So, technology isn't the issue. It's not technology. We've had technology. We've just chosen sort of which horse to back, which maybe isn't the best example because horses went away. It's all about attitude and mindset. That is far, far, far more important. And it's not just for technology, it's for a whole lot of other things. I mean, I would rather employ someone who is really, really keen, really bright, and doesn't have any knowledge in the area, than someone else who might even have a degree in that area, but doesn't have the attitude, because this person, they'll be much better than this person. And I shouldn't say that as an academic, but yes. Right, just a quick thing on, attitude and things, because there's sort of two things with blockchain. You can either make your current processes more efficient, which is better than nothing, but, it's not that great. It's like putting, more streamlined wheels on your cart that's being pulled by a horse. You get there a little bit quicker, but it's not that step change. Or you can do the radical transformation. And the radical transformation is what people find really difficult. Even when you show them it, they still go, no, we want to stick with our old thing because we know it. And so this is a good example with the steam engine. So steam engine sort of was a sort of forebear of our industrial revolution, and they had big steam engines in the middle of their factory. So imagine this was a factory, you'd have it in the middle here, and then it was noisy and smelly and smoky, and you'd have leads and pulleys and things, and they would operate all the machines around the outside. And so, it was better than it was before, but it was not that wonderful. And then when the first sort of electric motor came along, they went, oh, we can get rid of this smelly, noisy thing. Oh, we'll put an electric motor in the middle, and we will still have our, all our pulleys and our leads. So when that stops working, all the motors stop working. Now, some people said, well, after a few years, why don't we, instead of having this big thing in the middle, why don't we put motors in each of the machines? And all these people go, oh, that's stupid, we can't do that, we have to have it in the middle. It took about 30 years, for that actually to come over. And so the people that were really resistant, of course, went out of business. And it's exactly the same things that is happening here. With blockchain especially, and that's sort of some of my frustration, is it's patently better than what we've currently got, but people are still clinging on to their old systems. So, or blockchain, or it's really distributed ledger technology. So I've got friends of mine who are more technical than me, and they keep on saying, no, you can't be talking about blockchain. It's distributed ledger technology. And also, you should be making a clear distinction between public So like Bitcoin and Ethereum and the permissioned ones, for example, Hyperledger Fabric or TrackBack, all those type of ones. But who cares? It's just, if the technology works, it's fine. Just on that though, is that some of the things that are touted, the immutability and everything like that, well, that is more for the public blockchains, because when you have permissions, it is a bit, you do have fewer people. It is possible for more changes to be made. And that can be good and bad, because as Aaron was saying, you don't want to have to wait for a year or two for Ethereum to actually, upgrade itself. So there is some benefit to having a permissioned one. But whatever it is, it's a trade-off. You can't have the perfect thing. So you've just got to remember that. Now, I'm just going to have a little look at just a few different ones, because Justin wanted you to have a look at some of the practical applications. So we'll have a quick look at health, carbon assets, trade finance, and also distributed data processing for AI. Now, with health, we have the most amazing technology at our fingertips, and the Auckland District Health Board spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year on its IT systems, so we should have really good IT systems, shouldn't we? Okay, so if you would like to request your medical records from Auckland District Health Board, not for the rest of the country, okay, because we do not have an electronic health record at all, but if you want to just get it from the hospitals, just the hospitals, not from your GP, but just the hospitals. There is a form you can go online, it's PDF, very advanced. And the worst thing is when you go online to request your information, it's got a banner at the top of a laptop and an iPhone. Now, as we'll see as we go along, that is misleading and deceptive, okay? Because you might see that thinking, oh, I can actually access this stuff through my phone or even my laptop. No, you can't. So you've got to get this PDF form and obviously print it out. And I don't know about you guys, but we don't have a printer at home. So that's another hassle. You also have to make sure you get your little, when you go to the doctor or something or hospital, they print out your name on little stickers. So you've got to stick that on it. Then you've got to fill it all out and then get someone to witness it, to sign it, to say that, yes, you are the person that you say you are. And then because you're there anyway, because you have to get this done, you might as well hand it in person. And then you've got your wait. They promise to get back to you within 20 working days. That's about a month. And then, though, it does get better or worse, depending on your viewpoint. The methods of getting it back are post, New Zealand Post, so 3 deliveries a week, courier post, or if it's really urgent, fax. I am not making this up. You can go and look. Sorry, that's like some alternate reality. And we're meant to, but trouble is people's lives are being lost because of this information. It just beggars belief. Anyway, coming on from that, so could blockchain help? Well, yes, and a lot of people are working on it. So what this next video does is just show, and this is not yet in operation, but it's a nice video to show what could happen. But also with this, and this is what Aaron was sort of alluding to at the beginning, was that it's about us having the information. So instead of the information being stored, like, for example, your health data being stored by all the different hospitals and your GPs, you have to request access and wait all that time, and they may not give it to you because they decide, oh, we don't want to give it to you because of X, Y, and Z. You actually have control, and you grant other people access to it. So it completely flips everything around. So I'll play this video if it works.
Doctors, nurses, and health professionals are limited in the level of care they can provide. This is due to the inability to view your complete and accurate health record.
At Medical Chain, we believe that by putting patients at the heart of healthcare, we can truly improve people's lives.
With Medical Chain, you have full access and control over your own personal health data. Users are able to grant doctors immediate access to their health record via their mobile device. Medical Chain keeps electronic health records safe and secure using blockchain technology. The blockchain layer of Medical Chain hosts limited, non-personal information. This information acts as a pointer, directing the system to your encrypted health record. Encrypted records are held within hospitals, universities, and nonprofit organizations regulated to handle sensitive data. Only your authorization can unlock your health record and allow it to be viewed on the mobile interface. But Medical Chain is much more than a way to view patient electronic health records. Services such as telemedicine consultations are available with Medical Chain. Your doctor can check your progress with access to your medical history. Wearables ensure that doctors can access life-saving information when managing vulnerable or unconscious patients. Medical Chain provides peace of mind. You can feel safe knowing your health data is accessible to you and your doctor when it matters most.
We could do all that now. It's not the technology, it's the attitude. So you've got a lot of money with pharmaceutical and other IT providers, and they don't want to give it up. And so people are dying because of this inability. So my sort of modest proposal for that is that the government or DHB, Ministry of Health, whatever, just says, well, unless you open your data up, let other people do it, you're not going to get the next contract. Something's got to happen because people won't voluntarily give it up. It's a bit like I was here yesterday for a chicken and egg thing with IBM and Walmart. So Walmart is the largest employer of people in the US outside the government, and it's wanted to do this softly. We're building out this amazing supply chain. 6 days it takes to track on their current state-of-the-art system, as opposed to 16 seconds, so people are not dying in the meantime. No one wanted to do it. They weren't voluntarily doing it. So Walmart had to play the big police and say, well, if you want to be on our supply us, you have to do this. So that's what it needs. It can't just be, well, they will come, because sometimes they won't come. If this is going to go on, that's all right. I'm used to technology not working, especially at IT conference. It's always, okay, carbon. Now, I did these slides before that report was released on Monday, so this is not sort of trying to jump on a bandwagon. So we have a little bit of an issue, depending on who you talk with, about carbon warming. Now, a lot of people are using blockchain to solve this. In fact, people are using blockchain in almost every industry. In fact, I haven't come across an industry yet where you could not use blockchain. And so what I'm going to do quickly here, my remaining time, is just show, say, 3 different projects that are tackling things in a different way, from proprietary through to decentralized. So, carbon trading is nothing new. It's been around for 20 years. But it hasn't worked. As this is from The Guardian, and it says, for years we put our faith in the market to incentivize cleaner technology, and for years the carbon market has been riddled with corruption. It's time to try something else. I actually personally think this is a bit flawed, because people can say, oh, well, I can pollute as long as I pay a bit of money. But that aside, so carbon assets. Carbon trading is a very large market, but again, it's just not efficient. It's very illiquid. It's riddled with corruption, as the previous slide said, and there's a lack of transparency. You don't know exactly what's going on. You have no idea at all. And so people are trying to solve this in their different ways. Now, this is from Coin Central, which is an online blockchain cryptocurrency media source. And they're saying, can blockchain carbon offsetting save the planet? Well, this is from a partnership with IBM, Viridian, and also Stellar. So those evil cryptocurrency things which only criminals want to use? Well, Stellar Network, and we'll come back to Stellar later, that's being used because as a not only a payment mechanism, but also as a blockchain, because it's quite a basic, but it works really well. And so what this is to do is actually have carbon assets that anyone can trade. Well, you're likely to be big players, but this will stop a lot of the corruption, things getting hacked, not knowing what is going on. So, I'm not quite sure if it's yet in production, but that's sort of one of the things. Another one, and this is moving along a little bit, is called Poseidon. And as this was at June 21st, So in 4 weeks, they conserved an area of rainforest the size of more than 100 tennis courts with micro-donations. Now, what I probably should have done is put on a thing which I haven't done. There's a thing called Carbon Click, which is a startup, which I sort of was slightly involved in last weekend at a hackathon, and it's doing a very similar thing. So a lot of people are trying similar things. But what I quite like about this is that this is not your normal carbon thing of, oh, we'll go and plant some trees, because that promotes monoculture and things like this. This is actually preserving or conserving what we've already got from it being cut down, so you've got all the biodiversity. And not just that, it's the people in the community who are actually being paid to actually conserve them. And so what this is that when you go and you make a purchase, the carbon for that purchase is calculated and you pay for that. But not only that, you actually pay more than what the carbon is, so you're actually you're not just offsetting for that particular purchase, you're doing more to save. And so that requires digital identity to know who you are, and that's why something like single source is vital, because there's 3 things that I say are really, really, well, you need for blockchain. You need that digital identity. We need to know who you are, and also who entities are, and also what things are. So, for example, with the provenance, the trackback, you need to know, the identity of goods. So you need that. You also need governance. So how, for example, in Poseidon, how do you make changes to the code, to the blockchain itself, but how profits are distributed and things like that. And the third thing we actually need is dispute resolution. So if you have an issue, you have a dispute, we don't want to have to go out to the courts. Because I talk to quite a few judges and I say, have you heard about blockchain? Then you can see what the answer is. And it takes too long. So and also do we want, with cross-jurisdictional, all the different laws and things, you can, I mean, they've done this with shipping and they do it with a whole lot of other things, is basically say, right, this is how we're going to solve the dispute. If you want to be on our platform, this is how it is resolved. And so that will help as well, because honestly, we don't want to go into the legacy world because it doesn't work. I should have said my background is actually law, and so I know a fair bit about access to justice, and there is no access to justice here. So, and also talking about the small players and the big players, is if you're a small supplier, you've got no show at all against a multinational. They'll just screw you over. So this will actually help sort of everybody. Anyway, coming back to this one. This uses Stellar as well. It will be the blockchain. It's actually, this is operating. They did a trial with Ben & Jerry's, so this is not vaporware type of thing. But what they do is, with the blockchain, it's a bit like with solutions from Centrality and things. You don't store all the information on the blockchain. It's like with the medical chain, the video you just saw. It's being stored somewhere else, and the blockchain is sort of the bridge that keeps all the records, people accessed it, and things like that. So there's that one. So that's quite cool. And there's also this one, which looked cooler than what it actually is when you dig into it, because it says, a marketplace for reversing climate change. This is one which is, because the one with, the Viridian one with IBM, that is more just people have got existing carbon assets and they're trading them. This one is that they will actually go and, as it says, it doesn't say that, but they will pay, for reforestation and things like that, and create the assets which then can be used. But I guess it is removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and so there's that. And you can sort of see that this is a bit of another ICO. I'm not backing any of these, it's just sort of examples of what people are doing, but what I did want to show with carbon is that you've got sort of 3 different projects, and there's much more, like Carbon Click in New Zealand, that's doing a similar thing as well to Poseidon. Oh, what I did forget about Poseidon was that, and it's like what Aaron was saying, you've got to make these things better than what it currently is. So with Poseidon, and you'll also be able to do this with Carbon Click, is that you can see exactly what your purchases were and what projects you have helped. And so you can settle how many trees, how many have you saved, how many people have you employed, things like that. So that's really interactive user experience. And then you can gamify it because you can show your friends and you can do all that. And with Poseidon, what they want to do is put AI into it so that it could then start suggesting based on what you want that you might want to do, contribute towards this particular project or something else. So it's a, sort of a whole sort of ecosystem, and it gets people a lot more involved. Now, trade finance. So I think it's already been said that things are not, things just don't work. I mean, the more I get involved in all this, I just realize just how much back end there is to doing what seems seamless. And I actually think that's one reason why when I talk to students, quite a few students aren't very interested in blockchain. They just go, well, no. And I've been thinking about that. Why is that the case? Well, I think it's because they don't know how broken the systems are. They've got their phone and they can just send stuff, and they don't realize all the work that goes around to secure it all, because there's, give them a few years and they'll suddenly see. And so this video is quite a good way of moving a paper-based system into sort of almost the 20th century. If this works, this is from HSBC.
World trade really drives all the economic growth that's taken place. We are the #1 trade bank in the world. We have to lead the innovation in this space. Today we have 100 million pieces of paper that flow through our offices, and this is not our paper, this is the paper that facilitates trade. The moment this all gets digitized, the opportunity is huge, and that's where we are headed. The governments are pushing it, our customers want it, we want it.
Trade finance is a process that's remained the same for 400 years. So now we're taking blockchain technology to take it to the next level. Not only digitize the documents and the information transaction, but blockchain allows multiple parties to see the same thing, to see the same information. In this case, the information in the transaction between corporates and the issuing bank and the advising bank, this information is shared on a distributed ledger platform, Corda, under Voltron 1. The ability to share data, to leverage it between different databases, between different countries, between different users or different counterparties, makes it so much more powerful.
What this really does is it removes the friction which exists in current trade transactions. But more importantly, suddenly the 5 days have gone to 1. So it's all real-time, online, secure, which is really very, very important. This transaction involved 2 counterparties, one in Switzerland, one in Singapore, 2 banks, and a movement of goods from Argentina to Malaysia.
It was the first for us, it's the first using that particular technology. HSBC is ready to do a live transaction using a technology that is still very young. It allows us to transact using digital assets on a decentralized platform, which means it's peer-to-peer. So this wasn't just about a one-off transaction that just HSBC did in a silo. This is something that we're building together with industry, with our collaborators, other banks, as well as corporates. Blockchain will give us the Internet of Transactions. The next few years, I think what we'll see is an expansion of both the functionality of the application, as well as its scope in terms of the participants that are connected to that network. We think that the horizon requires both of these things to occur in order to actually drive real value.
Today, every bank is digital, but they're digital islands in themselves. This platform really allows these islands to get bridged together into one. The second big benefit is, given the efficiency this creates, this will lead to lower transaction costs for our customers. I think the movement from paper to digital will be much faster than any of us anticipate. And for us, the faster we get there, the better it is for the customers, better it is for the banking industry, and for trade in general across the world. This platform has been built by banks to make sure the platform is fit for purpose. It now needs to be taken to the next level. We are happy to take the lead. The platform has to be bank agnostic, so it cannot be led or driven only by one bank. Everyone is an equal participant, and that's very important for this to be successful.
Okay, just very quickly with that I could spend about the next hour unpacking that, but Corda, the blockchain they said, was made by banks and it's open source. So that is interesting, but also they need to work together. There's no good one bank being whizzy-bang if it doesn't connect with everything else. But another thing, I mean, I'm still surprised about how much goes on paper, but it's good that they've understood that, yes, they need to change the systems, but a lot of people don't say that. I've been told so many times by different people, well, our current systems worked fine and we could do that, we don't need blockchain. And it's like, well, yeah, but our businesses worked fine before the internet. You could send a letter, you could get a courier. They worked, didn't they? People have businesses. But would you go back now? Once you've seen something different, it's extremely hard to go back. Now, bringing it back to New Zealand, this is a company or entity that's actually operating. So this is not sort of some speculative thing. So Tātou is as it says, a blockchain-based AI computing platform. So you operate any type of organization, and say you've got chatbots which you need AI processing for because it's a lot of data processing needed. Well, you can go and use Amazon and things like that, but it's really, really expensive and it's getting more and more expensive every month or so. And so what this does is it gets people with spare GPU mining, computing power, basically miners that were mining Bitcoin and other things, and use that. And so you've got this instant on-tap demand, where you've got the demand and you've got the ability to service that. So you don't have to have your own data centers, you're not beholden to these companies that ratchet the price up. And the best thing is this is from New Zealand, so we can do all this in New Zealand, and it's, from all accounts, very successful. I know I saw someone here who's one of the legal advisors on it, so they could tell you a lot more than I can. But it's just, using the resources that are already there. And the plan is later on is to start using it down to the individual computers. So say, for example, you're a gamer, your computer's sitting idle, you can do that. And so that's, a New Zealand success story. But part of that is we need more in New Zealand. And we've got other countries, for example, Malta and Singapore and Hong Kong and Gibraltar, that are just saying, come. And the frustration amongst some of us is that we haven't heard any of that from the New Zealand government. If anyone's, but I was impressed with the one today with the Māori exporters. So that's about the only sort of thing that I've actually seen where the government, you've got New Zealand Post, I guess, as well. So there are some things bubbling away, but, yes, there's going to be some con artists and things, but to say not, to try and put the barriers up is not the best idea. And the worry is, when I talk to people, I know people that are already thinking of going to Singapore and going there because that's where things are. But they're staying here because of family reasons. But there's only so long that we can keep people in New Zealand. Now, just a quick thing. As I said before, almost any industry or every industry I've come across, you can use blockchain for. And one thing I didn't have on there because I didn't get the information until a bit later was people are using or about to use blockchain for example, sexual harassment, for reporting that. So it can be stored on the blockchain. There's a one called Vault. So that's another way of, tamper-proof. And with some of I'm not sure about Vault, but I know with some of the blockchain solutions for this, you can have it there, and then when you've got more than one person reporting on a certain alleged perpetrator, or you could set it for more than that, bang, the information will go out. So it's not just, someone making up a false accusation, because if there's 10 people, with that thing against one person, there may be a bit of a pattern there. But also you can have it so that, yes, the person's name's there, but then if you don't want that name to be shared with certain people, you can do all that. You can slice and dice whatever information is given to people. My time is basically up, so I have shown you some practical applications. Some of them are still in progress, and some of them are here right now.